A lot of women say, God told me to wait. But what they really mean is, I am attached and I'm calling it faith. Discernment does not feel like obsession, and obedience doesn't cost you your peace. Let that land. Today we're going to talk about the difference between discernment and fantasy, obedience and self-abandonment, and why peace is confirmation, and how emotional regulation is actually spiritual maturity. Hey love, welcome to the Solo Woman Collective. I'm Laquana, and I help women rebuild the identity that kept choosing the wrong men. And this conversation is for women who love God. Well, I pray that you love God, okay? But yes, this is faith-led, okay? This is for women who love God but keeps confusing emotional attachment with spiritual alignment. I don't think that this subject gets talked about enough because this is a real thing, okay? First and foremost, emotional attachment, it can sound spiritual if you don't know the difference. Fantasy feels super intense, but discernment, guys, is supposed to feel calm. Attachment, that pulls, but the Holy Spirit is here to stabilize. So when you're healed, obedience does not feel like loss. It feels like you're in alignment. And that's why peace is the confirmation, ladies. It's not chemistry, it's not urgency, and it's not emotional highs and lows. I remember when I had a guy that I used to date and I really liked him a lot, okay? Y'all, like, just because he would make me laugh, I started equating that to chemistry, and therefore I felt like, oh, this must be from God, because I just feel so jittery inside when I talk to him. And I started seeing red cardinals all around me. For real, y'all, I started seeing red cardinals. So I felt like, okay, this is in alignment. But I was ignoring the chaos behind the scenes that would go on when he wouldn't answer my phone call at certain times of the night, and when, you know, he wasn't following through on his word. Okay, so listen, don't be crazy. Don't be crazy. But the bottom line is, God, he doesn't speak through confusion. God speaks through grounded clarity. So that's going to be the difference, y'all. So today, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about discernment versus fantasy, obedience versus self-abandonment, peace as your emotional regulation as spiritual maturity. The Holy Spirit doesn't shout, he simply stabilizes. And this video it's going to be such a good video, y'all. So I'm so excited to bring this topic to you because this topic really hits home. Let's get into discernment versus fantasy, okay? So discernment, like I said in the beginning, y'all, it is quiet clarity, okay? Fantasy is loud, it's emotional, it's storytelling. Just think about your favorite fantasy book. But I want you to say this to yourself, okay? Discernment does not require constant interpretation. Think about that. Fantasy does. Discernment feels settled, even when it's uncomfortable, because you are going to have some uncomfortable moments during discernment. Fantasy, y'all, it's going to feel urgent. You're going to feel anxious. It's going to be a little mentally noisy. But discernment is going to show you the truth as it is, whether you like it or not. Fantasy is going to show you potential as you wish that it were, and you're going to ignore signs. Let's be real. You get in this phase of illusion. So let's talk about some examples, okay? So fantasy, for instance. So fantasy says, but what if he changes? But discernment is going to say, this is who he is right now, okay? Fantasy is going to keep replaying the moment over and over again, dreaming about him, but discernment is going to actually sit and observe patterns, okay? So when you are attached to an identity that needs love to feel safe, fantasy is going to feel like it's spiritual and chemistry and all of those lovely things, but it's not, okay? Your discernment is going to be your survival, ladies. I want you to understand this. And that is why if you're in day 7 of no contact, that's why it's so dangerous, because your brain, it's not hearing God. Let's just be clear. It's literally trying to detox from fantasy. Like when you're so early on of trying to detach from somebody, like you are literally going crazy in your mind. Some of us are lucky to start talking to God, but are not lucky, but some of us know, like, listen, I need to start talking to God. But for a lot of us, that's the last thing on our mind, because we're trying to figure out how to fix this situation and how to find instant relief. Next, I want to talk about obedience versus self-abandonment. Okay, like this is where the video is going to get a little heavy, ladies, but this is going to get heavy in a good way. Let's talk about the core distinction between the two. So your obedience draws you closer to yourself and God, but self-abandonment is going to erase you to preserve connection. It's going to erase you to preserve connection. So if what you're calling obedience requires you to betray yourself, ignore your body, aka having sex, silencing your needs like respect, or tolerating disrespect, you must understand that that is not God. So let it breathe. And let me give you some examples, okay? Some examples is when you stay when your body is anxious. I know that feeling too well. I remember feeling anxiety all day, every day. Waiting while your standards collapse. So you're waiting on him to change, but meanwhile, you're abandoning your own boundaries. You're calling it patience, but it's actually a fear of loss. You're not being patient with him being indecisive. You fear not having someone. Understand that God does not ask you to disappear to prove your faith. Self-abandonment is when you keep dimming your light so that the relationship can survive. And ladies, we're taught to dim our lights for a man too much nowadays. But understand that obedience is going to strengthen your spine. And if you abandon yourself, that's going to break it. Talk about if you're in your day 14 no contact journey. The old you is going to tell you to hold on, but the healed you is going to say that I need to stand up. I want you to remember that, because that doesn't mean that you're healed right now, but whenever you do get healed, that's what you're going to hear. Next, let's talk about peace as confirmation. Now, this part will resonate deeply with you. Peace, I want you guys to know, peace, it's not a reward that you get after you obey. Peace is going to be the signal that you are aligned with. Peace is going to, yes, it's going to tell you, like, I must be in alignment because I've never been so at peace. Anxiety is not supposed to be your conviction. Now, it's going to tell you that this ain't right. Yes. And chaos is not considered passion. I hate when people are like always cussing everybody out and going from 0 to 100 without any thought. And they say, oh, well, I'm just passionate. No, you are crazy. Confusion is not chemistry. If you really had chemistry in that relationship, you would not be as confused as you are. God does not whisper guidance through panic. God does not whisper guidance through panic. If anything, you don't hear him at all. And here's a truth drop. If something consistently robbed you of peace, your clarity, and your self-respect, you gotta stop asking God to bless that. Let's be real. I want you to let that hit. If that man is cheating on you time and time again, you cannot ask God to grace you to deal with that. If you are in day 30 of your no contact contact journey. And peace, it may still feel unfamiliar because the drama used to feel like home, the up and down. And that doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It just means that you are still in healing mode. Just that simple. But trust me when I tell you it gets better. This is proof that it is working. Next, let's talk about emotional regulation and your spiritual maturity. Now, I like to also say emotional intelligence, but yes, this is going to be the mic drop teaching, ladies, okay? Being spiritually mature does not mean that you do not feel. You are still going to have feelings. That's what makes you a woman. That's what makes you human. But your feelings are not going to lead the way. Reactivity does not equal righteousness. Your calmness does not mean that you are being cold, and your silence does not make you an avoidance. Jesus regulated his emotions before he regulated rooms. The healed woman does not chase closure, y'all. We got to get this closure thing out of our mind because that's what keeps you in that never-ending cycle. What you need to do is close those chapters. The healed woman does not go spiral. You stay steady. For example, if you're in your day 30 no contact journey, that's your soft power. When you don't need to prove, explain, or react, you just move differently. Just that simple. All right, so thank you, Holy Spirit, for feeding me with that today. But I want you to pause for a second and let whatever land. This video challenged you. I want you to subscribe because here we don't talk about feelings. We talk about identity. If you're done letting your emotions run your decisions, then I want you to start with the 7-day survival reset below. And I want you to remember that identity over emotion every time, okay? If you need more on your journey, I have a few videos linking up above. I'll see you guys in the next video. And take care of your heart. Peace out.